If you call a spade, you'll get labeled all types of names. Imagine Scott Agnes criticizing South Carolina and Asia Wilson fans for going after Caitlin Clark during her rookie season. Imagine the backlash.
Imagine being so rattled by cheering fans that you whip up a whole essay like you're auditioning for Darth Vader's PR squad. That's exactly what one Indiana Fever reporter did, casting Caitlin Clark supporters as a dark side. Yes, apparently foam fingers are now said weapons. In today's episode of Journalists Gone Wild, we dive into the meltdown that is people asking, did the WNBA just turn into a Marvel movie? Grab a seat. This drama is hotter than Caitlin's three-point percentage.
In an article, he put something in there, and I don't know if he thought it was going to be a side note to his article, but you cannot call Caitlin Clark fans the dark side of the fandom. No, that wasn't the greatest or smartest idea in the world.
Picture this. Caitlin Clark, who single-handedly dragged women's college basketball out of the shadows and into prime time, becomes a target of a hit piece from a sports journalist with composure of flat basketball. And not just any piece. No, this was a full-blown viral tantrum aimed not at Caitlin too obvious, but at her fans. You know, those outrageous criminals who dared to support her.
This is really disappointing from a journalist so closely linked to the Indiana Fever organization. This is really, really disappointing, and it's really concerning in my opinion, because it is painting a 23-year-old on their team who is currently injured.
Apparently, this reporter, let's call him Captain Cold Take, believes that anyone cheering for Caitlin Clark has joined, wait for it, the dark side. Yes, move over Darth Vader. Because wearing a number 22 Fever jersey and clapping for a three-pointer is now a Sith-level offense. All we're missing is John Williams' ominous soundtrack every time someone buys her merch.
Imagine Scott Agnes writing an article about the Reese's Pieces and all their negative vitriol, shout out to L. Duncan, that's been targeted to Caitlin Clark. Imagine the backlash he would receive. But what's the safe way out? What's the safest way to big up the Indiana Fever? Well, you tear down Caitlin Clark's fans.
Meanwhile, Indiana Fever management is out here doing the absolute most of nothing. They're stumbling around like a Scooby-Doo gang trying to solve the mystery of why Clark's fans are upset, when it's obvious. You've got the most electrifying rookie in WNBA history stuck in a league where the officiating makes the WWE look like the Harvard Debate Club.
Listen, man, this is very sad, very disappointing. It's disgusting that Caitlin Clark has to be subjected to this nonsense. And enough's enough. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. She needs to come out and draw the line in the sand. And it would not shock me if at some point, man, Caitlin Clark is just done with.
Let's start with the league, shall we? The WNBA, in its infinite wisdom, took Caitlin Clark, who casually dropped 40-point triple-doubles like free candy in Iowa, and dropped her into a system where refs seem to have taken a Petty in 3 easy calls masterclass. Every game feels like a Shakespearean tragedy, directed by someone who only reads Twitter arguments.
Yesterday, they also announced the skills competition for the WNBA All-Star team, and she didn't make that either. So you argued she wasn't good for the Olympics. Your argument, though I don't buy it, but it was your argument, women's basketball, that she would be a distraction. So isn't the perfect place to put her in the skills competition?
The NCAA treated Caitlin like a phenom. The WNBA treats her like a freshman at Mean Girls High. If the NCAA was a supportive guidance counselor, the WNBA is Regina George asking why she's so obsessed with being talented. We went from game of the week to game of the weekend, if nothing else is on. And then there's our dear reporter, a man so allergic to accountability, he probably carries an EpiPen whenever someone says objectivity. To him, Clark's fans are toxic, not because they're rude or harassing anyone, but because they exist. This is the same guy who ignores blatant fouls against her, only to pivot harder than a yoga instructor in a blackout when called out. Accuracy? Optional. Bitterness? Unlimited.
Winners of 7 of 9. The Fever are playing connected.
This man claims he's endured hate. Really? Caitlin's been elbowed, shoved, and fouled like someone's trying to rip out her soul, and still answers with a polite thank you at pressers. Meanwhile, he has a digital meltdown whenever someone in the comments asks him to consider reality. And in all this time, not once has he called out the cheap shots aimed at Clark. But he'll gladly write a 1,200-word lecture on why her fans are the problem. His rhetoric is so twisted it's practically an Annie Ann's pretzel. Talk basketball? Nope. Let's scold fans for noticing blatant no-calls.
Nasty. If y'all don't know who Scott Agnes is, he's a guy that's he's very close to the team. He gets a lot of access. He's in the practices. He's interviewing the players at practice. He's interviewing the players pre-game, post-game. He is very close with the team and has a lot of access to the players and the team.
And here's the sad part. It's all fueled by envy. The WNBA has begged for mainstream attention for decades. Now, finally, someone shows up who sells tickets, sells jerseys, and crashes merch sites. And somehow her biggest sin is being too successful. It's like that lazy coworker who gets mad when someone else earns a promotion. And don't get us started on she's not the only rookie. Yes, thank you, Captain Obvious. Buy a Clark jersey, and you're one tweet away from being branded a cult leader. And the real kicker? These pundits only matter right now because of Caitlin Clark. Without her, they'd be tweeting about pickleball tournaments.
The ignorance is loud here, folks. They're only there for Clark. Boy, you stepped in it. But that dark side can easily seep into the team. The Caitlin Clark fans, the dark side. Because they're very passionate about a player, and yes, they put their money where their mouth is. So these people, these fans, feel invested.
This man's entire brand is not supporting her. He's basically the anti-fan club president, shouting about how she's overrated, then gaslighting anyone who points out she's revolutionary. If professionalism and fairness were the standard, she'd be in MVP talks. Instead, she's surviving defensive ambushes like she's auditioning for Gladiator, while refs sip tea. And every time she shows grace and humility, the critics twist it. Why doesn't she fight back? Maybe because she knows the microscope is already aimed at her. She doesn't need to feed trolls who clearly haven't watched a full game since flip phones were in style.
Indiana Fever reporter Scott Agnes has decided that now would be the time, now that the Fever have won a few games, now would be the time to attack Caitlin Clark fans. While, of course, and I'm not even going to go through because some of them are really nasty.
Caitlin Clark didn't just make the WNBA relevant. She made it unavoidable. ESPN treats her like a presidential candidate. Opposing arenas cheer threes. Cities see tourism spikes when the Fever come to town. But sure, the problem is the fans. Not the elbows, not the no-calls, not the league's refusal to protect its biggest asset. If cheering is the dark side, hand us the lightsaber, because this force is growing the game, bringing revenue and inspiring the next generation. Meanwhile, our reporter friend can type away in his irrelevance, watching the sport finally rise, just not in the way he wanted.
Off social media, do you mean that they don't read the notifications? Because they're all on social media, except for maybe Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. You want me to believe, I mean, Brianna Turner's always on social media. You want me to believe that these players who are so addicted to the drama, who are so addicted to the outside noise, have gone off social media? Stop gaslighting us. We don't believe you. You need more people. We don't believe you. You need more people.
Let's not forget the special foul calls reserved just for Caitlin. Drive to the rim, flagrant. Contest of three, technical. Blink on defense, instant review. Honestly, you get fairer calls from a toddler deciding who gets the booster seat. And the league's rules? More like a choose-your-own-adventure, where every ending makes it a villain. Get fouled? Zoom in on her reaction until it looks like a crime scene. Smile after clutch shot, slow-mo it, and play ominous music.
Now, you would think that sentence is actually setting up in defense of the Indiana Fever, right? Because when you're on the top of the mountain, when you're the goat at the top of the mountain, you are going to get all the arrows. You're going to get all the arrows. This is true in any sport. This is true in life in general. When you are successful, you become a target. It doesn't matter that you might have started at the bottom.
At least Darth Vader had a cool theme song. But here's the thing. Caitlyn takes every setback, shakes her head, and just keeps putting up numbers that make calculators sweat. And the fans? We're still here because supporting excellence isn't optional. It's instinct. Meanwhile, our keyboard warrior is probably polishing his I told you so trophy, while Caitlyn quietly continues being the WNBA's MVP in everything but the official title. To him, the fans are the problem. To us, he's just the comic relief. Like that uncle at Thanksgiving who insists gravy is conspiracy. And here's the truth. In basketball, as in life, you don't get to pick the hero. The hero picks you.